Hi, all my beauties. I'm back. This time, not an angry rant. uh, I wanted to do this in a different location, but I once again am surrounded by animals. Apparently, I'm Snow White. Um, Kitty is on the side of me, puppy's in the front of me. Um, so, there's something I've been thinking of doing on this channel. I don't know what I'm doing with this channel. I don't know. I don't consider myself a content creator, just because I didn't really start any of this with anything particular in mind. I mean, like, I started a couple of years ago talking about fashion and makeup, and within the context of, I mean, I did do like tutorials and like, this is the product I use, but a lot of it was focused more on like redefining like beauty standards and what, you know, who gets to be beautiful. But then that really kind of switched to the more spiritual stuff. And initially I started out thinking, okay, we're going to like, I'm going to find like short pieces of literature, like prose poems, and kind of use that in context of then what the tarot was telling me. You know, for like collective, so kind of be like a collective reading, but we would also be using like literary pieces to kind of you know, frame everything. Because I was like, oh, I'm a writer, I do tarot, like that makes sense. And then, I don't know, that kind of dropped off. You know, I've been very, I mean, even before all this, I've always been very heavily focused on activism and, you know, what's happening in the world. And, you know, I kind of got back into that because my spiritual practice, my witchcraft, like, it's all very interconnected, intertwined with who I am, you know, in terms of, like, being an activist and, how I feel about the world and how I feel that inherently being a witch, you know, means that I'm here to help my community and, you know, all those things. So, I don't know. Nothing I've done has really gained traction. And again, I don't even know. Mostly this is just me talking out loud because I don't have anybody to talk to. And also, like, I need a project. Like, I can't just not have something going on. I'm done teaching for the year. I teach creative writing for anybody who doesn't know. That's only part-time, but it is done for the year now. I mostly work on a freelance basis for things. So, you know, it's when I have a project, it's great, and when I don't, I get bored real easily. I'm like a Labrador, which is what Miss Flo is, and she does get bored easily. It's not even about being bored, but it's like, it's just, I love my free time, don't get me wrong. I love to just read my books, you know, binge my shows, whatever. But I also like to have, it's more of like a creative outlet. This is a long rambling rant about what I'm even trying to get into, but whatever, stick with me. The point is that I don't know, like, I just, if I'm gonna do something with this, I'm gonna do something with this. I don't really care about the algorithm, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if I'm gonna be putting something out there, I hope it's like reaching somebody who needs it, somebody who wants to connect, you know, whatever. So I don't know, and maybe this is just me, but like, so much of what pops up on my YouTube feed, so like, I either follow witchy / tarot channels, yoga channels, history / archaeology, or like politics. It's kind of a gambit there, and so I think my FYP doesn't really know what to like show me. But a lot of the tarot stuff and things like that, it's very new agey centric. It's very kind of leans towards that girly, let's go find a man stuff. And I think that being on a love journey, whatever that means to you, is totally, you don't need validation for it, because I think that's something I'm kind of struggling with too, is feeling like defensive even to my own self as to why I want to find love again. But so much of what I see out there, in my opinion, is a little toxic-y. It's very, despite what people say, despite the words they say, it gets very, who's here? Hi. Are you okay? Oh, what's wrong? Do you need the fan and the peppermint oil? Yes? No?
Yes, I need a fan.
Well, there's the peppermint oil too. Do you have a headache or are you just hot?
I feel like metal that's right next to the sun.
Okay.
You know when like metal gets
Mhm.
so much of a hot?
Yeah. Anyway, Nine is home. What was I saying? Oh, so I just think a lot of the messaging gets, I don't know. It's a little toxic. It, despite what people say, it's very gendered. It's very rigid in those gender ideas. You know, and people will say like, oh, it's not about, you know, masculine and feminine, well, I have all the energies. But then we still continue to then place gendered attributes to these things. Like, okay, masculine, you know, energy and feminine energy is still then saying like, but masculine energy is this. And it's things that are always stereotypically attributed to, you know, the masculine. I also, it doesn't take into account people who don't identify with, you know, one gender over another. And I don't know, the whole divine feminine, divine masculine, I don't know. A lot of twin flame talk. I saw a channel, this is a while ago, but this one was saying how like, I've worked with thousands of twin flames, and I was like, oh, honey, no you haven't. No you haven't. I don't know, it's interesting. For somebody who has been on a journey of, you know, finding connection, don't do that. I don't want it broken. I really find it hard to identify or resonate in any way with most of the content out there. And you know, at the beginning of my practice, my witchcraft practice, I knew that I was being drawn to really show love and empathy and help others find that love and empathy for themselves, to find the beauty in themselves. And I think that's in part why I was very drawn to Venus. I haven't talked a whole lot about this, but I really, in the beginning of my practice, didn't plan to work with deities. Duncan. But then I had a dream, and Venus appeared to me. But Venus did not appear to me, you know, when I kind of went and tried to research things, nothing that came up was like, that's not how she came to me. It had nothing to do with romance, you know, desire, and nothing like that. It had nothing to do with that. And the work I do with Venus is not what most people do. Venus has very much shown me how love sometimes involves sitting in our sacred rage. And, you know, she is a moon goddess, a water goddess, but she often comes to me in flames. She's really shown me how to, I hate these words, but integrate that kind of dark, you know, often it gets called dark feminine energy, but, you know, that darker aspect that I don't think is a problem. And that's another thing too, the whole high vibration, low vibration, it's bullshit to me. Anyway, okay, so point is being like, I don't click with most of that. And I was like, there's probably others who don't as well. And, kind of being on this mission to, as I continue to walk a certain path, maybe there are others out there who, I don't know, whatever, I'm not an expert, I'm not a guru, I don't want to be a guru, first of all. That sounds awful to me. But, I don't know, just, if there's something I can bring to the table that helps other people, fantastic. But then, I was just like, I don't know. Stop doing that. That's not how you use the fan. It's gonna break that way. Why don't you go have a snack? And have some water. You need water. Stay hydrated. This is why I didn't want to film in the living room. What was I even saying? Okay, so point being, I don't know, I don't want to make this long ass thing. So I'm not really into being out there and being super public. But at the same time, it kind of always seems to happen to me. I kind of get led into these roles, whether I want to or not. And I don't know, the last couple of weeks, this has just kind of been, I don't know, just sort of been intuitively guided to maybe start this journey, see what happens. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want to do that. I don't want this to be misinterpreted. I don't want to be that person. But usually when my intuition is telling me to do something, I'm like, ugh, that usually I'm like, all right, well, shit, I guess we're doing that. So I don't know. I want to try and create a space where those of us who are on, I don't know, a path where we're trying to find connection, whether that be romantic or otherwise. I don't know, we can be in a space that's different from what's out there. And not that all of it's wrong or bad, but for me personally, so much of it just doesn't resonate with me, or even when it does, but then I'm like, okay, eye roll moment. But so much of it, they'll say you have to focus on self-love, but then they don't actually start there. I don't know. I really don't want to. I think I'm starting to see more of what this isn't going to be than what it is going to be. And I also in no way am wanting to tear down other people who are doing similar things, because that's not at all the intent. I'm just saying that what exists is not really working for me. And there might be others who feel the same. And I don't know, maybe we can have a space here where it works a little bit better. I got my kids in the room. So this is gonna be all over the place because that's how my videos are. The other day I was like, I've been periodically buying going out, outfits, and I never go anywhere. And if I do, I'm with the kids. And I went to a concert a couple of weeks ago with my best friend, and I actually got dressed up, and it was oh, this is kind of nice. I miss this. But I don't know. I've periodically been buying these clothes, and I was like, oh, this would be cute for date night. I don't have a boyfriend. I'm not dating anybody, but I'm just oh, that'd be cute. And so I was just I asked Tarot, what is this? Why am I doing this? And I pulled the 8 of Cups. And I knew that's what this was, but still, as we always say, Tarot just kind of confirms what you already know. But it's and I sat with that for a moment, and it's because I walked away from something. I walked away from things, and I'm ready to build something new. And I think for me, it is a personal because I'm the person who grew up being told that a man would take care of me. You know, I had a father who was president of a bank, had a master's in business, and it never occurred that maybe I should learn how to like manage my finances. You know, having financial literacy wasn't something that apparently, you know, was something that my parents' eldest daughter needed to learn. Because I think just the thought was always like, well, but she's gonna get married someday and that man will take care of it all. And I did get married one day, and I did have a man who allegedly was taking care of that, and turns out he wasn't, and a lot of shit went down, and anyway, it's a long story, and that's not, I don't want to get into that. But, you know, I'm also somebody who was in a 20-year marriage who for the second decade of that was, I've kind of considered my, not necessarily single, but like, but just like, I've been on my own for 10 years, even though I was married, because he was so emotionally uninvested at that point. And I literally, you know, we divorced last year. So in fact, the divorce is final. So it just, my point is that I sometimes get in my head about like being defensive even with myself. Like, well, yes, I want to find love again, but not because of this, not because I need to be taken care of. And I'm like, but that's okay. You know, like we don't have to be defensive. Like we want love in our life. Yes. Because I also want to find that community that, you know, this is so much deeper than, you know, like a boyfriend or a husband or a partner. You know, I don't know. Like this isn't even, you know, this is something we can dig into deeper later. But I don't know, I think it can be confusing for those of us who really want to stand in our own power and learn to truly love ourselves, like truly love ourselves. Like look deep into the depths and know that we are who we are and love ourselves for that. And that's been a long, grueling, difficult process for me. But I'm finally at that point. That doesn't mean I don't still struggle. It doesn't mean that I don't still have, I've always been my own worst critic. But I'm at a point where like, I am so proud of myself and I love myself. And I want that for other people. I want us all to feel that level of confidence in ourselves and not arrogance. It's not arrogance. It's and it's not just confidence either, but it is confidence, but it's knowing that you're enough. Because I've always thought I wasn't. I always thought I wasn't enough. And, you know, I truly think that we can't truly be in love with other people. We can't truly love other people, again, whether romantic, platonic, or otherwise, until we truly love ourselves. Because then what do we really know about love? If we can't give to ourselves, how can we give to other people? And so anyway, I don't know. I hate to say this is a love journey because I don't want it to turn into purely a romantic thing. You know, I also really am going to steer away from a lot of the divine masculine, divine feminine. I will tell you, I do not believe in twin flames. So that, you know, if that's something you think you want to be a part of, that this is probably not the place for you. I think that twin flames are very misunderstood. I think everybody wants to think that their relationship is so unique and special, and it is to you. But, you know, in the greater scheme of things, you know, our individual relationships that's what they are. They're our individual relationships. They're not some, you know, iconic, world-altering, you know, love story, you know, that kind of impacts the globe. And I think twin flames is a very misunderstood term. You know, I think it's been very taken up by the New Age community and twisted and whatever, anyway. Again, I'm kind of saying more what this isn't instead of what it is. But I don't know. If you are in a place in your life where you're wanting to really learn self-acceptance, you're wanting to truly be able to look in the mirror and say, wow, I'm beautiful. I am fucking hot. But you're also looking to, I don't know, find connection and whatever that means to you. whether it be romantic, platonic, familial, whatever. I don't know. Let's see what space we can create here. I thought about doing tarot, but I don't think I want to do that right now. Yeah, I don't know if this rambling little thing makes any sense to anybody, and it seems like something you might be interested in. I don't know, hit that subscribe, like, give me a shout out. I don't know, whatever. Whether you follow along or not, I'll be out here in the ether, talking to myself, and yeah, just kind of see where this journey takes us. So yeah, if that sounds like your thing, definitely check things out, come back, see what I posted. I kind of post very chaotically. It just kind of depends on like what's going on with the kids and life in general. But yeah, I don't know. And if you have any thoughts on this, let me know. What are you looking for that you haven't found in other content? Yeah, on that note, I will leave it. And to all my beautiful people, I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful and safe weekend.